Today we'll be talking about magical girl Kokoro Awane from Magia Record. So let's begin. Kokoro Awane is a 15-year-old defense-type magical girl. Her height is 155 centimeters, with eyes being green and her hair being brown. She comes from Chuo Ward in Kamihama City. Kokoro's soul gem is a green gem located beneath her neck. Her weapon is a 2-pile driver toffus, and her wish to be a magical girl was for her mother to come back. I want my mom to come back. Her witch and doppel is Pamela, and she attends Chuo Academy in the 10th grade. Her magical girl's element is the light element, and her ability is endure. A magical girl who's always tries to put on a happy face. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she lived with her father ever since. The relationship has become strained, leading her to become emotionally shut off. The doppel of restraint. Its form is a shell. The master of this emotion knows it's simply a way for her to release her pent-up frustration. She views it with mixed feelings, as she understands there are drawbacks. This doppel sprouts thorns to resist those who would harm it, and attacks ferociously when it senses danger. On rare occasions, the agitated emotional state of its master may cause it to explode, and its shell, though stronger than metal, will break and release a surge of powerful magic. Kyoko fights the familiars with Murasa Kagami. Afterwards, they move on to the witch and defeat it. When the girls reappear in reality, Murasa says that they have to leave before the place closes. Kuroko says they still have time and says they should enjoy the view. She offers to buy Murasa drinks, and when Murasa says she doesn't need one, says she'll choose for her. Kyoko narrates that her and Murasa became partners after they met. It's more like a one-sided relationship. Kuroko is still surprised to find they fighting a witches together, and admits she didn't have the best impression of Murasa at first. She thinks back to when they first met. The flashbacks begin shortly after Kuroko became a magic girl. In it, Kuroko enters a witch's bearer and finds the familiars have all been destroyed. She then sees Murasa fighting a witch. She deduces she was the one who beat the familiars. She thinks Murasa is strong, but as she fights the witch, Kuroko thinks Murasa acts like she's not afraid of dying. Murasa then notices Kuroko, who says she didn't realize another magical girl had arrived. Kuroko says she will support her. After the battle, Kuroko says that she's nowhere near Murasa's level, she still thinks Murasa should protect herself more. Murasa says she doesn't really care if she dies, which shocks Kuroko. Murasa says that if Kuroko thinks she's strong, she should agree that Murasa is correct. Murasa claims that a human can become invincible if they have nothing to lose. She says her strength becomes from the difference to death. As Kuroko sputters, she narrates that the person who leaves doesn't understand the feelings of those they left behind. Kuroko says that Murasa's family will care if she dies. Murasa says it's fine, explaining that she wished it for money, and arrange things so that if she dies, it will be transferred to her family. Murasa also says it's easier if she dies inside a witch's barrier, since to everyone else, she'll just have gone missing. Kyoko says that not what she talking about, asks how her family would feel if she died. Murasa thinks they'll be fine, claiming humans are strong creatures. Kyoko flashes back to her mother, who tells Kyoko she's strong and will be fine even after she leaves. Kyoko thought she wasn't fine at all. Kyoko explains to Murasa that she wished for her broken family to be made whole again, and for her mother to come back home. Kyoko narrates that she thought fighting witches was just compensation for repairing her family, but her mother didn't feel the way she did. Kyoko thinks back to her past when her parents were together and narrates that when she was little, she went hiking in the mountains with her family. She believes it to be the most fun memory she has with them. Afterwards, they stopped going hiking. In another flashback, Kyoko's father yells at her for not wasting the dishes. For not washing the dishes. Kyoko explains that she had to do homework, promising him to say that's too late. Kyoko replies she'll do the dishes if that's the case, but her father tells her to just be quiet and focus on her schoolwork. Kyoko narrates that her father kept getting upset after her mom left. She believed he didn't know what he was supposed to do, and was taking it all on her. Kyoko blames her mom for leaving. Later, Kyoko finishes ironing clothes, and her father apologizes for yelling earlier. Kyoko narrates that hiking became her hobby, but after her mom left, she went hiking alone. Comparing her feelings to hiking, she thinks she won't complain about anything and tells her father not to worry about it. She says she's completely fine. Back with Murasa, Kyoko says that it might not have been much to her, but for most people, being a magical girl is a huge decision. She says she will go that far to protect her family, and admonishes Murasa to not let her break so easily. Murasa says Kyoko is talking about her family, not Murasa's, and that Murasa's family are only the ones who have the right to criticize her. Kyoko apologizes and admits she selfishly got mad. She says it's her problem. Murasa asks why she's blaming herself for protecting her family. Kyoko says she couldn't. Kyoko's wish was, I want my mom to come back. And that's precisely what happened. Kyoko narrates that she thought that would make everything go back to the way things were. But that's not the case. Her mother and father would argue at home over chores. Kyoko thought that if she knew that her happy family would disappear someday, she would wish she would never had known it in the first place. However, since she knows what a happy family is like, she'll always desire it. Kyoko compares her desire to hiking up in the mountain and thinks hiking alone is painful. Because of this, Kyoko will meditate with her family's arguments, telling them to leave it to her. Murasa, Kyoko starts crying after explaining what happened. Murasa asks why she blames herself. Kyoko says she wished for it to happen. Murasa says that Kyoko did nothing wrong. She wished to put her family back together, and got exactly that. Murasa claims that what happens after is something Kyoko shouldn't be responsible for. Kyoko thinks back to all her friends and relatives who told her it wasn't her fault, but she wasn't able to accept those words until Murasa spoke them without any sort of pity. Murasa then asks if Kyoko's ideal is to kill her feelings to protect her family. Kyoko says that's not it at all, and says she doesn't want her parents to have painful memories either. Murasa then asks why she thinks it's okay to hold back. Murasa explains that if Kyoko's ideal family isn't built on someone's pain, then she shouldn't put that burden on herself. Murasa then tells Kyoko that she should live her own sake, not on others. Murasa says she's going to leave, but Kyoko asks if she can stay with her. Kyoko narrates that she was attached to the girl who explained things to her. For reasons she couldn't put into words, Murasa says there's no benefit to Kyoko, but Kyoko says she just wants to be with Murasa. Murasa says she can do what she wishes. Later, Kyoko's father complains the dishes are done. Kyoko says that her mother's at the neighborhood ascension meeting, and that it's not right to push all the chores on mom. Kyoko's father agrees and says he'll do the dishes. Kyoko says she'll help him out and make dinner. Kyoko thinks there's still quite a distance to the summit of her desires, but she won't ignore the pain anymore. Kyoko then welcomes her mother back with dinner. Kyoko's mother apologizes, but her father says he needs to do the cooking every so often. Sometime later, Kyoko and Murasa defeat another witch. Kyoko invites Murasa to a cafe she heard about, but Murasa says she's not hungry or thirsty. Kyoko says she doesn't need to be, and they can just take a look. When Murasa asks what they would do, Kyoko says they can talk. Murasa says if Kyoko wants to talk, they can just do it here. Kyoko then thinks that's how Murasa is, but even so, she can't help but be interested. Kyoko then she might be selfish, but she is worried about Murasa's safety. Kyoko says that they can go to the cafe the next time they finish hunting, and if Murasa is hungry or thirsty, Murasa says she wouldn't mind. Kyoko then thinks she can't just say she wants Murasa to change because she's with her, but hopes Murasa realizes it someday. As the girls say they'll see each other tomorrow, Kyoko hopes that Murasa will see that there is a person who finds her important. Kyoko narrates that she won't ignore her heart, and that she's at your side for her own sake. Although Kyoko's ability isn't exactly what it can do, from what the ability is called indoor means it's connected to emotions, which means suffer. Something painful or difficult. Patiently or remained in existence, last. Kuroko means heart in Japanese. Her last name, Aware, means millet and root, respectively. Fact 1. Her illustrator is Gong, who is the illustrator and artist of Prola Magia Suzume Magica. Fact 2. Her doppel may be a reference to the song of the same name by popular music band Tonto. In the song, it talks about toughness and being side by side with a loved one. This could link to the relationship Kuroko holds with her family and her friend Murasa Kagami. Instead, it may be a reference to Pamela, or Virtue Rewarded, the widely read 18th century novel, or its antagonist, Pamela Andrews. As the title suggests, the novel is a story of a woman's patience and virtue over men's despotism and hedonism, and is the given name Pamela became widely known by the novel. Pamela is a beautiful and cherished girl with a low status in social society. She responds to her employer's various forms of ravishment with a chastity, and then eventually wins the reward as joining the upper class by formally marrying her employer. Fact 3. Kuroko's voice actor is Rena Kondo, who you may know as Wani Arbel in Sword Art Online Alicization, Nakaido in Dorohedoro, Child Wilder in Battle Athletes Victory Restart, For video games other than Majiwaka, she voiced Athena Pierce in Maple Story, Anzu Aijima in Yuki Yuna is a Hero, a Sparkling Flower, Shifuna Agato in Princess Connect We Drive, and finally Trunk Track in Fate Grand Order. And that is Kokoro Awane's information. Next time we'll go over Hana Sarasa. See you next time.